Hey there, HackerFrogs. It's me, the Shy Hat, and we're going to be doing HackerFrogs After School Extra Credit today. Today we're going to be going over some of the commands we learned during Monday's workshop, in which we did some more Linux OS operations commands. All right, so if anybody is not here for that, then you are free to leave or free to stay. Either one is just fine. All right, so what are we learning today? In the last workshop on Monday, we went over the over-the-wire bandit exercises. That was the second workshop. And let's take a look at some of the commands we went over. So in that workshop, we looked over the file command. The file command is a command that identifies the type of contents for a specified file. The file name must be supplied as an argument to the file command. For example, if we use file on a file called picture.jpg, it's probably going to tell us that it's a JPEG image file. And if we use it on a txt file over here we've got example.txt, and it's going to tell us that it contains ASCII text. Inside of computer systems, most of the text encoding that is used is either ASCII or UTF-8. These are encoding schemes that turn pixels into letters. Sorry, not pixels into letters. It turns binary bytes into letters. So the input of your keystrokes turns into letters. So the find command is another command we went over, and the find command is used to search for files in the system. It can be used with many different arguments and flags to refine the search parameters. And we went over the grep command. The grep command searches within the contents of files for specified strings. So inside of grep, you can tell the command which particular strings you're looking for, and if they exist within the file, that's going to return those back to you. So it's fairly commonly used to pick out specific words or phrases. So we're going to be taking a look at picoCTF today. Just like in the previous extra credits session, we're going to look at picoCTF and some of the challenges over there. If you do not have an account over at picoCTF.org, you can make a free account over there if you want to join in with the exercises we're going to be doing today. I will provide it in the chat for everybody. So just go over to that website and create a free account, and then you can join in with us. So everything on picoCTF is free. There's no paid version of this website. It was made purely for educational purposes, and it was made in collaboration with Carnegie Mellon University, which is a big university out in America. All right, so I am currently logged in as the Shy Hat, as we see over here. Before we start doing our exercises, we're going to need to open up a web shell terminal. You can do that. Let me reload this page real quick. You can do that by clicking on the web shell button after you've logged in to play.picoctf.org. So after you've arrived at that web page, then you will see the web shell button located on the right-hand side of the upper right-hand portion of the screen. Over here, you just need to click on that button, and then the picoCTF shell will open up. So what we really want to do is we really want to put the picoCTF web shell in its own browser tab. And in order to do that, we can just go over to this button over here inside of the web shell, and it looks like a little box with an arrow pointing out, and this button is going to put the web shell in its own browser tab. Click on that, and then the web shell will become its own browser tab. And in order to log into the web shell, we're going to need to provide our picoCTF username and password. So inside of the web shell, this is already going to be a Linux interface. So when we type in our password, we're not necessarily going to see any input. That is completely normal. All right, so let me go grab my password from my password manager program. To anybody who's not using a password manager program, I highly recommend that you do, because it's probably the safest way to store your passwords and ensure that you're able to use unique passwords for every account that you're using. So let me look this up right here. It's picoCTF, and I am the Shy Hat. Let me grab my password. So I've copied my password just now, and I will put in my name as the Shy Hat, and I will input my picoCTF password. So one thing about the picoCTF web shell is that it is a Linux command terminal, which means that you won't be able to use Control-C and Control-V for a copy and paste. It's going to be Control-Shift-C and Control-Shift-V for a copy and paste instead. So when you're inputting your password, just use Control-Shift-V to paste your password in and press enter. And then you will have access to the picoCTF web shell. So remember that the picoCTF web shell is only for solving the picoCTF challenges. The people over at picoCTF are nice enough to provide virtual machines for us to use. So this picoCTF web shell is hosted on their server, which means that they have to host all the students and all their data, which is kind of a big ask, but they let you play around with your own space inside of their Linux server, and you're able to create a bunch of directories and solve a bunch of challenges within this web shell. So one other thing that you have to note is that idle sessions will automatically log out after 15 minutes. So if you don't want to go through the pain of having to log in over and over again if you leave your picoCTF web shell alone for 15 minutes or so, you can use one trick that I found out, that is to use the nano text editor. So if you just type in nano and press enter, it'll put you inside of the nano text editor. And while you're inside of the nano text editor, you will not be logged out. So even if you go beyond 15 minutes, as long as you're inside of the text editor, you're not going to get logged out. So that's just a little tip. So let me show you how to get out of the nano text editor before we move on. So if you want to get out of the nano text editor, you would use the keyboard shortcut listed over here, which is Control-X. So if you do Control-X, it's going to get you out of the text editor. Okay, so everybody, we're going to start our series of challenges today. So while you're working through the challenges, you're going to be working inside of the Linux terminal, and hopefully this lets you have a little more experience working with the terminal to get you more comfortable using it. Okay, so we're going to be doing our first challenge, and the first challenge is going to be called First Find. So I'm going to copy a link, and I will provide it inside of the chat for everybody to see. So if you follow that link, it's going to lead you to the challenge that we're going to be performing now. So go back to the picoCTF webpage and then paste in the link that I provided to you, and it'll lead you to this challenge right here, which is called First Find. And there's a description here. Inside the challenge, it says unzip this archive and find the file named uber-secret.txt. Okay, and they also have a link to the zip file that contains the file associated with the challenge over here. And as you can see, each one of these challenge windows also has a field for inputting the flag, which is the goal of the exercise over here, and as well as a submit flag button. And there's also an upvote and downvote button over here, which you can click on after you finish the challenge to show whether or not you were satisfied with this challenge. So this one is a relatively highly rated challenge. 87% of the people who did this challenge liked it. So let's start the challenge. So everybody, if you're ready to start your challenge, please type ready to go in chat. And if you like, just like this, and you can include some smiley faces or some frog emotes if you like. All right, so after you're ready to go, all you need to do is right-click on the download zip file link over here and click on copy link address. So after you do that, we can go back to our web shell. So inside our web shell, we're going to create our own directory for solving this challenge. This challenge is called First Find. First Find, okay, so let's create a directory for First Find. You can do that with the mkdir command, make dir, and then first find. So make dir, first find, is going to create this directory inside of your Linux web shell. To anybody who is watching, if you're lost or you want us to wait up for you to catch up with the rest of us, please let us know in chat and we'll try to accommodate you. All right, so after inputted command, we will find ourselves inside of that directory. We do pwd. Oh, no. Okay, so this only creates a directory. To actually go into the directory, we have to use the cd command. So cd first find. And now we're inside the first find directory. Okay. All right, so I'm going to have to copy that link again. So I'm going to go back here and I'm going to copy the link address again. Then I'm going to go back to the web shell and I'm going to use the wget command to download the file. So inside of the Linux terminal, you can use wget to download files. So it's wget and then provide the link for the file. You can do that with Control-Shift-V to paste it in. And after that, just press enter, and then that will download the file. So we download this file. It's called files.zip. If we do ls to list out the contents of the directory, let's do la as well, just to get more information from this command. We see that there is a file called files.zip inside the directory. And if we were to use the file command on this, it's going to tell us that it is a compressed archive. So this is a zip archive data file. So the method of unzipping the file, so what we need to do is unzip the file to get access to all of the files inside. The command is simply unzip and then the name of the file. So it's going to be unzip files.zip. So run that command. And you're going to see that it unzips a bunch of files inside a bunch of directories over here. So all of these files are unzipped right here. So what we need to do is we need to access the file that was specified inside of the challenge. So if we go back to the challenge description, it says to unzip this archive and find the file named uber-secret.txt. So to anybody in chat, I'd like to ask you, what do you think the command might be to find the file uber-secret.txt? If you have an answer, please type it in chat just to see if you know what we're dealing with. Sometimes the syntax for these files can be a little bit tricky, but hopefully we can muddle through this problem. So we're going to go back to, so first I'm going to copy the name of this file over here, just so I can paste it into the terminal after we go back to it. So I've got the name of the file over here, and I've copied it, so when I go back to the terminal, I can just paste it in when I need to. Okay, so we have all of our directories right here. So we see that we've got the files directory right here. And if we look inside of that directory, we can see that there are 3 other directories in here. But what we want to do is we want to use the find command to find the exact file that we're looking for. So the command is going to be find, and then we're going to have to give it the name tag over here, and then the dash name argument, and then the name of the file that we're looking for, right? So the name of the file we're looking for is this one right here, uber-secret.txt. Another thing we need to do is we need to provide the directory that the find command is going to look inside, and we're going to specify dot over here. So dot refers to this directory that we're in right now and any other directories underneath this directory. So find dot dash name uber-secret.txt. All right, so we run that command, and we see that it matches this file right here. So it's this directory, and then files, and then adequate books, and then more books, and then .secret, and then deeper secrets, and then deepest secrets, and then uber-secret.txt. So normally, if we were to try to look for this file inside of the directories manually, it would be quite time-consuming and tedious. So so it's good that we have the find command in order to expedite all that. So in order to read this file, we would need to use the cat command. So we would use cat, and then normally, in order to read this, we would need to type all of this out right here, this whole file path right here, but we don't need to do that. We simply need to highlight all of this, and then after we let go of the mouse button, the terminal is going to copy it for us, which is quite convenient, but this is a feature of the picoCTF web shell. Most other shells don't do this. So after that, this file path is copied to our clipboard, so we can just paste it in. So just do Control-Shift-V, and it's pasted in. So it would be cat, and then this file path right here ending in uber-secret.txt. So let's read that. And after we read that, emat84 asks, sorry, how did you unzip the file? Okay, so the command for unzipping the file is just going to be unzip files.zip. Unzip files.zip. That's what we use to unzip the file. Okay, so after we read this file, we get the flag for the file, and it's picoCTF, and it says find is fast. So remember that most of the flags for picoCTF challenges are individualized. So this portion right here is individualized for my particular username. So even if you copy this exact flag, it's probably not going to work for you for submission. So please copy your own flag. So highlight the flag, and that's going to copy it. And then we go back to the web page, and then inside of the challenge, we can paste in this flag in this flag submission field right here, and then we click on Submit Flag, and then we get 100 points. Good for us. Okay, so after we've done that, we can go back to the challenge page, and I'm going to provide another link to it in chat. So after you've solved the challenge, you can go over back to the challenge description page, and you can click on the Rate Positive button, the upvote button right here, just to show some appreciation for the challenge makers. Okay, so now that we've done that, we're finished with this particular challenge. So everybody, if you managed to finish this challenge right here, first find, please type in the chat, find is awesome, and some smiley faces. But if you don't think that find is awesome, you don't need to type in the smiley faces. I understand. Okay, so everybody, while we're waiting for the results to come in, let's move on to the next challenge, which is going to be called First Grep. All right, so we're going to get out of this challenge, and then we're going to go over, and I'm going to copy the challenge file right here, hold on. So this is the link. I will provide the link in the chat for everybody. And then I will navigate over to the challenge description. Okay, so this one is talking about grep. So in the last workshop, we talked about find and grep. We're talking about grep and grep searches inside of files. The description says, can you find the flag in file? This would be really tedious to look through manually. Something tells me there is a better way. Okay, so before we start this challenge, let's create an environment to solve the challenge in. So we go back to our picoCTF web shell, and then we're going to go back to our home directory. So it's cd tilde to go back to the home directory. And then we're going to make a new directory here. So make directory, mkdir, and it's going to be first grep. Make dir, first grep, and then after we've done that, we can cd, change directory into it, cd first grep. And now that we're inside of the directory, we can get the URL for the file and download it. Okay, so back over to the picoCTF webpage. So can you find the flag in file? Okay, so there's a link over here. Just right click on it, click on copy link address, then go back to the web shell, and then use the wget command to download the file. So wget, and then paste in the file address, and then press enter to run the command. And it's going to save the file over here. So we need to do lsla to make sure that we have the file. Okay, so we have this file over here. Let's take a look at what kind of file it is. So strangely enough, the command to see what the file type is for this file is just file. So file, it says it's in ASCII text contents. It has ASCII text contents with very long lines. Okay, so if we were to try to cat this one out, cat file, we would see that the file is quite large, and if we were to try to look for some information in here manually, it would be very, very difficult. So we're going to use the grep command to look inside this file instead. So let's use. So if anybody knows what we would do to read this file using the grep command, please type it in chat now. Otherwise, we're going to be going over how to do this challenge in just a little bit. So can you find the flag in file? So we might be looking for some text, the flag text inside the file, or we might be looking for the picoCTF flag prefix, which in most cases is just going to be picoCTF over here. That's another thing that we could be looking for. But let's go back to the web shell over here, and okay, so emat84 says grep picoCTF file. All right, so let's try that. So it's grep, and then the pattern we're looking for, which is picoCTF, and then file, which is the name of the file that we are looking inside. Okay, and it says here that we received the flag. So this is the method we use to get this to solve this challenge. So picoCTF grep is good to find things. So copy the flag, and then go back to the challenge page, and then paste in the flag, and click on submit flag. emat84 also says we could also use cat file pipe sort. Okay, so we could try that. We could try that, yeah, for sure. Okay, so after we click on submit flag, it looks like I didn't copy the right thing. Okay, let me go back and copy the flag. Okay, so I'm going to highlight this, and this should copy the flag, and then we go back to the file, and then paste in the file, and then click on Submit Flag. Okay, so yeah, that's how we solve the challenge. So we use the grep command to search the file for a particular string to match, and that's how we solve the challenge. Okay, so first grep, we can go back to the challenge description. I'm going to provide the link to the challenge description, and then we can click on the upvote button over here to show appreciation for the challenge makers. All right, so let's go back to the web shell and try what emat said. So emat84 says you can cat file and then sort. Okay, so I think the reason why this works is because the sort command is going to put the lines in alphabetical order, and in this case, the line beginning with P, which is the flag, is the last one in the order of lines for this particular file. But that's a neat little Easter egg, emat. Thank you very much. Okay, so, but we're actually going to be going over how to use the sort command and how to use piping in the next HackerFrogs workshop, which is going to be on Monday. But yeah, thanks for that tip. Okay, so thank you very much for following the Twitch channel creator099. Thank you very much. Okay, so let's go to the next challenge, which is called Big Zip. So I'm going to provide the link to the Big Zip challenge, and we will also go to Big Zip inside of our web page. So this is the Big Zip challenge, and the description here says, unzip this archive and find the flag. Okay, so this is going to be quite familiar, and it's going to be very similar to the last challenge. But let's do it to get our motor skills, to build up our muscle memory for using grep. All right, so we go back to the web shell, and then we're going to back out into our home directory. And then we're going to create a directory called Big Zip. So make dir Big Zip. And then after that, we can cd into the directory, cd Big Zip. And then we see that we are inside of the directory. So now we're ready to download the file. So we can go back to the picoCTF webpage, and we can copy the download link by right-clicking it and then clicking on Copy Link Address. After we've done that, go back to the picoCTF web shell, and then we can use wget to download the file. So it's wget and then paste in the file location, and then press enter to download the file. So we downloaded a file called bigzipfiles.zip. So if we use the file command on it, it says it's a zip archive. So we just need to decompress or unzip the file using the unzip command. So we can do unzip and then big. So remember, we can use tab autocomplete to autocomplete the name of the file as long as there are no other files inside the directory which begin with the same letters. So just start typing the name of the file, and then hit the tab key, and it's going to autocomplete the name of the file. So it unzips a lot of information over here. So it's a lot of different zip files and a lot inside of these different directories right here. So I think that might be what emat84 was referring to. He was probably surprised that there are so many files in here. All right, so what does the challenge say? Unzip this archive and find the flag. So if you want to race me in finding the flag for this particular challenge, you can go ahead and use your grep skills to find the file that contains the flag. And if you find the flag before me, go ahead and paste it into chat to show that you've completed the challenge. All right, so let's go back to the web shell. So there are a lot of files in here. So what we need to do is we need to use the grep command to find the flag inside of these files. So it would be grep, and then we have to specify a directory. So I think it's grep. No, it's grep and then the pattern and then the directory or the file. So it's going to be grep, and we're going to look for picoCTF, or we can look for flag. So let's try flag first. So we're going to grep for the flag string, and then we can look inside of this directory, which is /, and it should be recursive. Flat now says, I'll have to watch the replay to do the exercises. Yeah, if you come back after the stream is over, or you can play along with us until we finish the exercises. We should be finishing at the top by the time the hour is up. But if you want to participate from this point forward, that's fine too. Just remember that you need an account over at picoCTF.org in order to access the challenges. So this is a directory. Okay, so grep. Let me ask ChatGPT what we would do to look inside of all these files recursively. So ChatGPT, please tell me, how do you use the grep command to look recursively inside of directories? So we have to use grep with the R. Okay, so grep with the R flag. Okay, let's do that then. So back here, it's going to be grep-r, and then the pattern we're looking for, which is flag, and then the directory we're looking for, which is this. So it looks like there are a bunch of different. So maybe flag is the wrong text to look for. Let's try looking, instead of flag, let's look for the picoCTF flag prefix. So let's look for pico. And then run that. So here we found the flag in this particular file over here. So it's going to be in this file, inside of this text file right here. All right, so we have the flag now. And emat84 asks, what does the -r flag do? So the -r flag, as we learned from our good friend ChatGPT, is going to let grep recursively search inside of each one of the files inside of a directory, and each file that's underneath that directory. So that's what the R flag does. R stands for recursive. All right, so we can copy the flag, and then we can go back to the challenge page, and then in the challenge page we can submit the flag by pasting it into the flag submission field and click on submit flag. All right, and let's go back to the challenge and upvote the challenge. And in the challenge here, because we enjoyed the challenge, we can upvote it. And that's the Big Zip challenge. So inside the web shell here, we see the Big Zip files directory right here, and there are a bunch of different directories underneath this directory as well. So we use grep with the -r flag in order to search inside of this directory and all of the directories underneath this directory. So grep r, and we can search for books. So anything you're looking for, if it is part of that particular file, it's going to show you the line where that particular string appears. So grep and find are both very useful commands for finding both file contents and specific files, respectively. All right, let's go on to the next challenge. Okay, so the next challenge is called plumbing. So I think this is going to be introducing a concept that we haven't learned yet, but it's a fairly easy concept to grasp. So I don't think you should have too much trouble with it. So this challenge is called plumbing. So this is the plumbing challenge. Sometimes you need to handle process data outside of a file. Can you find a way to keep the output from this program and search for the flag? Connect to this server right here and on this port right here. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to be using the netcat command, which is a networking command for accessing different servers, and we're going to try to solve the challenge by accessing the server accessing the server remotely. So netcat is a bit like SSH. It allows us to contact different servers on different networking ports, but netcat is a much more what is the word? Netcat is a much more versatile program, and in which it can be used for a lot of different networking functions. So we're going to go back to our web shell to prepare our environment. Actually, we don't need to prepare an environment for this one. So we can just back out to our home directory, because this challenge doesn't involve us downloading any files. So we go back to our home directory, and then we're going to copy this particular server right here. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to go over to the web shell, and we're going to paste this in. Okay, so this is the server right here, and after the name of the server is the networking port. So what we need to do is we need to use the netcat command, which is abbreviated to just nc netcat juniper.challenges.picoCTF.org, and this refers to the networking port we're going to communicate on. So networking ports are basically just different interfaces we can use to access different servers on a computer, on a remote server rather. Okay, so if you were to run this command, we would be contacting this server right here on this port. So we go ahead and give that an execute, and it gives us a bunch of different output over here. And so this is all a bunch of different output, and we're obviously looking for the flag because that's what we do in every challenge. But we didn't receive. If we were to try to look through all this for the flag, it would take a really long time. So let's try another method of accessing this. So we're stuck in this interface right here because we can't exactly give any. Oh, okay. So if we just press enter, then we're going to get out of the command. But if you're stuck inside of a command and you don't know how to get out, you can always use the Control-C keyboard shortcut to exit out of the command. Okay, so if you have a solution to this particular challenge, please tell us, and we would be glad to know it. Otherwise, we're going to be going over how to solve this challenge shortly. So if we use the netcat command to access the server, we just get a bunch of output, but we can use something called a pipe in order to send a different command alongside this command right here. So the pipe command right here, and pipe can be, this particular character is the shifted version of backslash, and it's usually somewhere near the enter key on the keyboard. So different keyboards have this pipe character in different locations, but it's usually somewhere near the enter key. And the normal version of this key is the backslash. So the pipe is going to feed the output of this command over here into the input of the next command. And EMAT has the answer over here. He's going to pipe the netcat command into the grep command. So over here you can give the grep command and then use the grep command as normal. Okay, so if we were to look for the picoCTF flag prefix over here, it would be grep picoCTF. So grep picoCTF is going to be used on the output of this command right here, which is netcat on this server on this port, and it should only return the output that contains this text right here, picoCTF. So we run this command, and we see that we return only the portion of this output which contains the flag, which is picoCTF digital plumber. Okay, so we have the flag, copy it, and then go back to the web page, and then paste it into the flag submission field over here, and submit the flag. And then we can go back and then we can upvote the challenge if we enjoyed the challenge. So this one was pretty good at demonstrating the use of the pipe. So upvote the challenge and we're done. EMAT84 asks, do all flags passwords have picoCTF before the flag? So the answer is yes, but with a caveat, because picoCTF flags, you can't just search, and in some cases you can just search for the flags and it's going to be in plain text, but in other cases the picoCTF flag is going to be transformed somehow, either encoded or encrypted, in which case simply searching for the flag is not going to work. So all right, so this challenge is done, and we're going to move on to the last challenge we're going to be completing today, which is called Mob Psycho. All right, so Mob Psycho is the name of a really cool anime that you might enjoy if you are the type of person who enjoys anime. So let me paste in the link for this challenge. And this is the Mob Psycho challenge. So this challenge is actually very, very recent. It came out only a couple of months ago as part of the picoCTF 2024, the picoCTF 2024 event, which actually me and a few other HackerFrogs participated in, and we solved a bunch of challenges, and it was a lot of fun. So the description here says, can you handle APKs? So APKs are actually Android application files. So download the Android APK here. So this is going to be an Android application file that we're dealing with. So first, let's go over to the web shell and set up our CTF challenge environment. So we can go back to our home directory, and then I think I already have this inside of this. Yeah, I already have this this file in here. So I'm going to go to a temp directory, and then I'm going to download the file. First, I need to copy the link, copy link address, then go back to the web shell and wget the file, and then press enter to download the file. Okay, so this downloads the APK file. This is mobpsycho.apk. So an interesting thing about APK files, these are files that install Android applications. So mobile applications that work on your smartphone, like your Galaxy smartphones or your Google Pixel smartphones. If we go over to the picoCTF description over here, there are some hints for us. And a bunch of these challenges also have hints associated with them. So you can click on this hint here, and it says, did you know you can unzip APK files? Okay, so this is actually a very important hint, because if you didn't know about this, then you would probably scratch your head and ask yourself, how do you solve this challenge? So after we've downloaded the file, we've got mobpsycho.apk. If we were to run file on this, it would say that it is a zip archive. It's a zip archive. So if we ran file on this, then we could probably get the hint that we could unzip this file. So unzipping this file is just like unzipping every other zip file. We just need to use the unzip command. So unzip and then mobpsycho.apk. So emat says mv mobpsycho.apk mobpsycho.zip. I did that before I unzipped. Oh, okay. So emat decided to rename this file before he unzipped it. But in fact, you don't need to rename the file before you unzip it. Unzip works on the file regardless of what file extension it has. So unzip mobpsycho.apk, run the command, and it's going to unzip all of these different files over here. So these are typical files that you might see inside of an APK file, which is used to install Android applications. So, but we're going to treat this like any other find or grep challenge, in which we're just going to grep and look for the flag. So emat84 says this is where I get really lost. Okay, so we can just treat this like any other grep challenge. So we just need to grep R, in fact, and then we type in the so if we're trying to look for a flag inside of one of these files, we can try flag, and then we can do we can supply the name of the directory, which is /, which is the current directory and every directory underneath this directory. So it says mobpsycho.apk binary file matches and classes.dex binary file matches. But in fact, we could we could also look for the flag prefix, which is picoCTF. What we could also do is we could look for a file called flag.txt. So we could look for a file called flag, in fact. So if we were to do find and then current directory and then name is flag, so we can just say, we can surround this with asterisks, which means that it's just going to look for any file with flag somewhere inside of the file name. So, okay, I think I did that wrong. So, okay, I did that wrong because I gave flag /. It shouldn't be flag /, it should be flag /. If we do flag /, it's going to look inside the entire file, system. But if we do find /, it means that we're going to only look inside the current directory and all the directories under this directory. So let's do that again. All right, so after we run this run this command, we see that there is a file called flag.txt in here. All right, so we can read that file and get the file path by highlighting it, which copies it. And then after we read the file, we see a bunch of numbers over here. So does anybody know what these numbers could represent? So this is in fact what emat was talking about. So emat asked if all of the flags inside of picoCTF start with picoCTF. And emat84 says, is this a hash? This is not a hash, but it is somewhat related to encryption. This is actually encoding right here. So we were talking about ASCII encoding, and ASCII encoding is basically when you turn a bunch of numbers and you turn it into letters. So normally ASCII encoding can be either binary numbers or hexadecimal numbers or decimal numbers, and it turns the decimal numbers or the other numbers into letters and numbers. So if we were to go to a website called ASCII to hex, we get this rapidtables.com website over here. And this one is ASCII text to hex code converter. So what we can do is we can put in hex code, and it will translate the hex code into ASCII characters. So the reason why we might suspect that this is hex code is because it has numbers from 0 to 9, as well as a couple of different letters, but not all of the different letters. So if you remember that hexadecimal code uses the letters from A to F. So there are letters in here. There's F, there's B, there's D, but there's no letters after F. So we can probably guess that this is hexadecimal code. And if we're talking about ASCII encoding, that we know that ASCII characters can be encoded into, can be converted from hexadecimal. So we can copy all this, and then we can decode it by going over to the rapid tables site right here, which converts ASCII text to hex converter. So this is actually not what we're looking for. We're looking for hex to ASCII. So we can go over here and we can adjust the name of the URL, hex to ASCII. I'm not a robot. Oh, okay, I need to identify where are buses. That's it, right? Did I pass? Oh no, there's a bus up here as well. Okay. Wow, I'm failing my robot test. Emat84 says, fun fact, in 007 when they're hacking with the 3D model, if you look close enough, there's hex code, but it sort of fails because it doesn't follow the hex code rules. Oh, that's interesting. Well, the thing about hacking scenes in movies is that they're often incorrect. So anyways, now that we're at the hex to ASCII converter, we can paste in our hexadecimal and it's going to give us text. So we're going to paste in our hex numbers over here. So remember, each one of these, each pair of these is going to correspond with a letter or a number inside of hexadecimal. So we're going to click on the convert button and it's going to give us our answer over here. So these are the ASCII characters, but if we convert this set of ASCII characters over to hexadecimal, then it looks like this. All right, so we've got our flag, so we can copy it and then go back to the challenge page and we can paste in the flag and then click on submit to finish the challenge. Okay. All right, so we are finished with the challenges. Everybody, if you managed to solve some challenges today, please type we did find and grep in the chat, along with some smileys and some frog emotes. I hope everybody had fun today. So before we finish off our session, if anybody has any questions about anything we did today or about cybersecurity in general, go ahead and type any questions or comments you might have in chat. But we're going to be finishing out in about 10 minutes. But before that, let's see what everybody is asking. Emat84 says, you shouldn't be able to convert hex code that easily. We did find and grep. You shouldn't be able to convert hex code that easy. You shouldn't be able to convert hex code that easy. Okay, so an interesting thing about ASCII table. So the ASCII character encoding scheme is actually very, very old. And it's been used since the beginning of computing. So we've got our ASCII chart over here. Whoops. And these are the so it's basically converting different bytes into characters that we can read. So each one of these, so there's this is the decimal representation of each one of the ASCII characters. It goes, the original set goes from 0 to 127. And each one of these decimal characters is associated with a character. A lot of these characters over here you can't exactly read. They're only meant for computers to read, such as starting of heading, start of text, end of text, bell, backspace, line feed. So you can't exactly read these characters, but they're available for the computer to read nonetheless. But there are also all of these readable characters over here. So there's a decimal notation and there's a hexadecimal notation, but it doesn't say here that there's also a binary notation for each one of these characters as well. But so I'm going to do some recommendations right now for anybody who wants to get in on the cybersecurity lifestyle kind of track. So there's a bunch of different podcasts that I like to listen to. If you guys know any cybersecurity podcasts, please type them in chat and let us know. So one of them is Darknet Diaries. So Darknet Diaries is an old EMAT84 says start smoking. Who is going to start smoking? Okay, so Darknet Diaries is a oh, you were talking about cybersecurity lifestyle. I actually don't know very many cybersecurity people who smoke. There are a few, but most of the vice that cybersecurity people tend to display, as far as I know, is that they like to drink. They like to drink a lot, and it's sometimes it becomes kind of a problem. But all right, so Darknet Diaries is a great podcast series. Unfortunately, Darknet Diaries is kind of it was very active over the last maybe 4 or 5 years or so, but it's not very it doesn't update very often these days. But there are so many really great cybersecurity stories inside of Darknet Diaries. One that I would recommend to all of you is one called what is it called again? It was called Shadow Brokers. So Shadow Brokers, which is episode 53. So I'm going to copy that for you all. That's a great episode, and it talks about how this mysterious guy on Twitter claimed to have broken into the American NSA and downloaded a bunch of their cybersecurity tools. And they actually unleashed a pretty damaging piece of malware that the NSA used to break into systems, and that's related to another one called WannaCry. And WannaCry is a North Korean developed piece of malware that was able to cripple the UK's National Health Service, and that's actually something that didn't happen too long ago. It happened back in 2014 or so. Well, that is about a decade, but it was really big. It was really big news back then. So Darknet Diaries is a great podcast, as well as let me see. Oh, if you like if you want to listen to the lighter side of cybersecurity, there's Smashing Security. So Smashing Security is an easier to listen to cybersecurity podcast, and it's hosted by two well-known figures in the cybersecurity community. Graham Cluley and Carl Terrio. Graham Cluley, in particular, is really famous inside of cybersecurity because he used to work for a very famous antivirus company. But yeah. All right. So everybody, if there's anything else you want to ask me as far as cybersecurity stuff is concerned, you can always contact me on the Reddit, which is reddit.com/r/HackerFrogs. And I'll provide the link to that in the chat. So on the HackerFrogs Reddit forum over here, you can see that we always have a bunch of different posts on how to on different topics covering beginner cybersecurity, such as YouTube videos or Python language education resources. Coincidentally, after this Linux OS operations course is over, it's going to end by the end of this month. After that, we're going to be moving on into our Python programming section of HackerFrogs. If anybody's interested in that, you can always stick around until the beginning of June, where we're going to start that one. And to anybody who wanted to do low-level programming in order to do binary exploitation and reverse engineering, we've got a bunch of we have a post over here that has a bunch of resources for learning that kind of cybersecurity. EMAT84 asks, have you heard anything about the London drugs attack? I haven't. I have been trying to keep track of the London drugs attack, which was an attack on a local pharmaceutical chain up here in Canada. Oh, so Flat now says wow about Python. Let me grab the link for that particular post for you. So if you want to take a look at that particular post on the HackerFrogs Reddit, there's a lot of different free resources for Python on that particular post. But to EMAT84, I haven't heard anything new about the attack. All I've heard is that that pharmacy was crippled for the last few days. I haven't heard about whether or not they've reopened by now or not. But I frankly don't visit that particular place too often. But yeah. So everybody, as well as those resources, we also post the schedule for HackerFrogs live streams on the Reddit. So for example, next week is going to be week 20 of 2024. And on Monday, we're going to have our HackerFrogs Linux OS operations session again. We're going to be finishing off our journey with over-the-wire bandit. We're going to be doing levels 8 to 10, and that's going to be Monday, May 13th. And then we're going to be doing an extra credit session for that workshop as well. EMAT84 says, there's an uptick in attacks on healthcare in general, like worldwide. Just curious. So I would say that the hackers, the bad guys, they basically get in wherever they can get in. I wouldn't say that they're targeting healthcare or commercial websites or big companies in general. They're just looking for whatever is open and whatever they can get their hands on. All right, so let's see who is on Twitch. Anybody on Twitch? What we like to do is we like to raid. We would send all of our viewers over to other channels whenever we can, just so people can discover new and interesting channels. So it looks like we've got one channel over here which is dealing with hardware stuff. Maybe we'll send you guys over there. All right, so, but thank you very much for coming today, everybody, and I hope you learned something. We will be back on Monday. I hope everybody has a good weekend, and we'll see you next time. Please stick around for the raid, and see you next time.
about that? The Shy Hat. What's cracking? Let's try doing it this way this time, because I don't see why it's not working. Okay, yep, that's good. I can deal with that. Oh, nice. One and done, and the second one. I don't know about that. Should be pretty loud. It's on 35. Ed. It's a quiet song. Does anyone else think that the music is low? How about like that? No, you don't want it too loud, but... Did I plug in? Double check. I feel like I didn't. I did. Okay. The Shy Hat, thanks for the follow. I mean, I appreciate that. Welcome to Booterville, where you can never escape. So, look what you done did.